Hey, welcome to C's Backstage. This is your all-access pass to everything you need to know to design, produce, and inspire your next event. I'm your host, Troy Peters, C's Productions' very own Chief Experience Officer, here to guide you through the world of live events. Remember to subscribe to the podcast at cspro.com/backstage or wherever you get your favorite podcasts, so you too can be backstage. On today's episode, we have Dana Nitty and Shannon McQuaid, co-owners of event producers, meeting planners, Jacks of all trade. Jacquelines of all trade, Jills of all trade, thank you, with SD Event Production. You guys have been a long-time partner, and I really think partner in the truest sense of the word, where sometimes you hire us and sometimes we bring you on for a client that might need your services. We've done a couple of shows together now. One scenario, we brought you on for a client that, we obviously do the audio, video, lighting, and staging, but they were suddenly like, we think we need a tent and we think we need some scenic. And we're like, well, okay, that's not really our sweet spot, but we know who can do it. And then we reached out. And then we've got an event coming up, which happens pretty regularly, where Dana, you reached out and said, I've got a client that's got more of a typical scenario where we need someone to come in and provide audio visual for an event in a hotel ballroom, and you reached out and we're coming in to provide it, but then you are sort of our leading everything from us. And then we've also got Josh Darasay here on the podcast today. Josh is another jack of all trades. We're really, between the four of us, we are the people that get it done. Yeah,
really There's a lot of hats on this table.
This is the sweet spot. But Josh is one of our account executives, has worked with you guys plenty of times. And why don't we start with, tell us a little bit about SD Event Production and how you guys started out. Let's kick it over to Dana to start off with.
All right. So Shannon and I met back in 2016. We were both working in the event industry. I was working for a destination management company, and Shannon was working on the venue management side. But we were working for sister companies, so we were in the same building together. Spent several years together, working together, and then I went off to do in-house meeting planning, and then COVID hit, right. And the world shut down, and we kind of found ourselves like everyone else in the event industry. What do we do next? And then we found ourselves also sitting on Shannon's porch drinking wine.
As many of us did during COVID.
Which is where all the best ideas come from.
That's right.
And just kind of talking about like what our passions are, what we want to do next. And, we were kind of just brainstorming, but we were like, I'm like, well, I'm thinking about maybe just starting like a side hustle doing celebrations of life, because I had done one for a really good friend of mine. And it just kind of, it meant a lot to me. And I think it's hard, people who don't know how to do events, to kind of throw some of these celebrations or, milestones. So Shannon was like, oh, well, I would do that with you.
I'll help you.
Yeah. So we kind of started out with that, and then it just kind of grew from there. And
okay.
Shannon said one day, she's like, well, I already know what our name would be if we do this.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, what's that?
I said, SD Event Production, which a lot of people think stands for San Diego, and it is a nod to San Diego, obviously where we're based, where we're from, but it actually stands for Shannon and Dana. So it just it all happened very kind of organically, and it just kind of grew. Like she said, we were going to start out just doing celebrations of life, maybe on the side of whatever other jobs we got or,
right.
Other things we were doing. And then as time went on, we're like, why don't we we obviously know how to do corporate events. We've done weddings. We've done so much. Why don't we kind of offer all those things and see what people want? Because as the world started to open back up, it was like, we didn't know what was going to happen, what people were even celebrating, if weddings were happening, corporate events were not happening. Mm-hmm. So we were like, let's just let people know everything we do, and we'll see kind of what happens. And then it's just snowballed from there. So,
okay.
And here we are almost 4 years later.
Yeah. And kind of knowing what our passion was and what our niche was, for each of us. We both, the great thing is we have different talents and different skills. And so, whereas I do love the spreadsheets. I like, the production part of it. Shannon's a little bit more creative than I am. So, so we really, are able to bounce off of each other really well.
Okay. And where do you guys work? I know the confusion. You're based in San Diego.
Yeah.
It's called SD Event Production.
Yeah.
But you guys work anywhere your client needs you to go, right?
We do.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. Most of our business is here, just since we're physically here, but we do have clients that we travel with, and we love to travel and have clients that, take us with them. They have an event here, they meet us, they get to know us, and then want to bring us along on their next events as they travel the country and even internationally. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Similar to us, right? We're sort of the same thing. We love that we're based in Southern California because every corporate group or every
Yeah.
association comes through San
Ends
Diego
up
at
here
some point, meets us, and then says, "Oh my gosh, we love you guys. Let's keep taking you wherever we need to go." And so I think one of those examples is there's a group that's coming into San Diego shortly, and Josh, you're working on that program along with Dana.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about how that that sort of the roles and responsibilities as they kind of come together. Dana, the client reached out to you, you reached out to us even before you had won the business, I think, to just be like, hey, can we team up on this? So maybe start, let's hear from you first, and then Josh can kind of respond to how that response, that sort of like leading us into that scenario for the overall win for all of us.
Yeah. No, this was, a perfect example of how we can work together. And, the client called us because they are looking for, it's something that they've produced on their own before, but they realize that there's a huge gap and they can't be on stage and emceeing the event while also running the show and doing the production.
Many clients do think they can do it all.
Yeah. So they realize they cannot. And
That's
so
great.
this year they said, we really need to bring someone on that has expertise in doing the run of show, doing the production, and can kind of, and do some stage management, with the speakers and stuff like that. And so that's why they reached out to us. And then, of course, we're planners, producers, but we don't have the equipment. And we, so we then rely on our partners to be able to bring in the equipment, to bring in some of the expertise that we don't have. So that's when we called you guys to see if you were available, and been working with Josh, and it's been wonderful.
Thank you. I will say that I think it broke the record for the fastest turnaround from,
It was.
hey, how you doing? I have a show, to, okay, here's the signed contract. And it wasn't a small show. I mean, those happen for the little, hey, I need
Yeah.
2 speakers for a DJ for my wedding. Like, yeah,
Right.
sure, all right.
Yeah.
But this was, there's work to be done, and there's an LED wall, and there's, run a show. So getting it turned around that fast only just showed how well we meshed together and
Comfortable. Yeah.
comfortably, and the knowledge of the industry, not to, call to the talk that you just gave earlier, but when we're all in the same, like, brain wavelength, whatever you want to call it, it's so much easier to just flow right into, okay, well, here's, the next call to action, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's the flow, right?
The flow.
It's so funny because I've got an article I was just about to post on LinkedIn talking about flow from Fast Company. It was an article I like to repost, articles that I find are good for leadership and things. But really, you think about those athletes when they're in the flow, right? And that's when you see like the Kansas City Chiefs that have been in the flow for 3 years now, and they're just, everything's hitting in the right way. And when you truly have that right partner, that's really what it is. It's just that, even when we were doing that work for Cutwater, we were just filling in for each other. It was like, I'm covering that. And you just like, walk in like, oh my gosh, I forgot to do this. Like, no, we already got it.
Yeah.
Like, it's so awesome to watch that come together.
It makes it easy when we have partners like you guys that we trust and work with so consistently. Like, we know what you guys can do. You guys know what we can do. We know the things that
Right.
So if, a client comes to us and needs XYZ, we're like, we know exactly who to go to. I know they can do it. I know this is how they're going to do it. And it just makes that communication between us and the client even easier as well, because we can vouch for you kind of as an extension of our own team, and vice versa, where we just know it's all taken care of and have that trust and, communication. Like you said, if we miss something, you guys are going to catch it. If you guys miss something, we're probably going to catch it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Love that. Tell me a little bit about your guys' roles and responsibilities. Sometimes you're doing more of the production side, but you also are helping with sourcing sometimes as well. Do both of you do that? Do you guys kind of focus one thing or the other?
Yeah, so we both kind of do everything for the most part.
Jill of all trades.
Yeah,
You already
yeah,
covered
Jill of
that.
all
What's
trades.
my title?
For
Jill of
the
all
most
trades.
part. But yeah, so sometimes we work with clients and we're like soup to nuts, and we're like, they come to us and they have, a leadership retreat or staff retreat or convention, and so we're working with them to source the hotels. And then after we source the hotel, we're working with them on their food and beverage and their rooming lists, their setup, within the ballroom. We're working with the audiovisual partners, with any, maybe team building that's going to come in, doing offsite events for them, where we're planning, offsite, the fun activities after. So sometimes we kind of do it all, and then other times, we'll do like decor.
Right.
Or like you guys needed with Cutwater, like, just some elements to elevate their event. And that was kind of the fun stuff, like,
Yep.
the decor, the specialty.
Entertainment.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
entertainment,
Yeah.
the specialty tables and.
Dana typically does more of like the meeting planning. She has much more of a meeting planning corporate background than I do. So, sorry, he distracted me. She's a certified meeting planner. So anyone that needs like more strategic planning or more meeting corporate focused, I say generally goes to her. And then I can assist, in any way that she needs me to. And then I do more of we also do weddings. So I do the majority of our weddings, and kind of more of the creative side of things if we do need decor or, kind of social events, things like that. So, but like she said, we both will chip in on any and everything. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice. What do you look for when you're working with a partner, whether it's a venue partner or caterers or an audiovisual, a guy like Josh? What are you looking for? What are those like things that make you go, yeah, this is where I want it. This is who I want to work with. Say we've got a catering company that's watching or listening to the podcast, and it's like, how can I be better as a supplier or a vendor to you guys?
Yeah, I would say like reliability. A lot of times, and you guys probably run into this also with vendors that like don't call you back, don't reply to your emails, don't reply to your phone calls, for days later. And it's like, this is a fast moving industry. So,
Yeah.
like if we don't get a call back, we're going to go to the next person. So reliability, communication, so open communication. Even if that means that, there's something that went wrong, like just having that conversation with your vendor and the vendor being receptive to feedback and working together, to.
I always say you found the right company if you can have those uncomfortable conversations together, right? I mean,
Yeah.
especially coming through COVID, we had to have those like, what if this happens? What if the internet goes down and all those things? And you want to know that you've got that trusted and reliable partner.
Yeah, and then also just, we want to work with partners who want to make us look good and vice versa. And, we always say like we're only as good as our vendors.
Right.
So having those good partners who are really invested in us as a company and vice versa, we're invested in you as a company. I think that they make the best partners.
Yeah.
Kick it over to Josh. How about on the other side? What makes SD event production a great partner to work with? What are the things that stand out? We obviously work with hundreds of
Quite a few.
of
Yeah.
How
event
dare you.
partners. You are our only partner. You are our favorite partner. I didn't say any of the other ones were favorites.
Okay.
But yeah, what do you look for, Josh? What's the things that call out when you're looking for a partner?
Yeah, the honesty thing is huge. You said it a couple times earlier about trust, and whenever you and I speak, I know we were laughing the other day because Dana had texted me, this something the hotel. Can we just walk through it real quick? And it was dinner time, and I didn't see it right away, and I messaged her back like an hour later. Oh, sorry, I was having dinner with the wife, and it's almost jovial. Is that the right word? Like it's it doesn't have to be so constricted and dead to rights serious sometimes. And I feel like working with both of you is so, I don't want to say easy in the like, they don't know what they're doing, I could sell them anything. Yeah. It's not that. It's I can be honest with you and you're not going to bite my head off for, hey, I missed this here, or I was having dinner with the wife. Sorry, can you want to talk tomorrow, or you want to do it now? But yeah, it's ease of use is the wrong way to say it, but it's so easy just to, it's comfortable to have a conversation with you.
Transparency.
There's trust there.
Transparency.
We talked about this the other day when we were on our site visit of having the hard conversations and being able to go, hey, we got to cover this cost here, or this isn't going to work, and just be upfront with me, right? Don't try to slough it under the rug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel like I'm not that guy anyway, but I don't feel that from you guys.
Yeah.
I have caught that, here and there in the industry. It's just kind of how it goes. But
Yeah.
it's great working with you guys. So
Thanks.
Aw,
And we
feeling the
shucks.
love.
And we we both have cats also.
there you go.
Oh, there
You too.
We have cats.
Yep.
Josh and I.
I love when I'm on calls with Josh Azula.
Azula. Yeah.
Across
When
the
I'm on, yeah,
Well, she knows his
I
voice.
will be talking to him, and I'll just get the cat face looking at
Yeah,
Troy.
pretty funny.
I love it. But it's true. It's those, we become, and especially over time, when you've had even those challenging times, we always talk about, I always say, pain plus time equals comedy. And it's like, well, yeah, once we got through COVID, now we look back and it's like, oh my gosh, remember those events? Remember how and now we look back and laugh on it. But when you've got that long-term relationship and that open communication, you just naturally just build on that, and it allows you to elevate the success for your clients and elevate the success for everybody. And we talk about bringing people into the room. That's our job, right? Trying to be that conduit. So when you've got two sides of a table that aren't speaking, our job is putting on events where we can get people. Sometimes in wedding planning, it's the mothers, the mother-in-laws that aren't speaking, but it's our job to make sure it's smooth and they all connect together and all of that. What would you say are the sort of sweet spot, if you're looking for that next client, let's hear from each of you. We'll start with Shannon this time. What are you looking for if there's somebody that's listening and is like on the fence about who to decide to hire? What are you looking for? And maybe that's they're all of a sudden going to be like, Shannon's my Jill of all trades. That's perfect for this project.
It's a lot of the same, I think, things we just said about vendors, people that are, we've been really lucky with the clients that we have gotten and continue to get. I feel like we kind of attract, and vice versa, just people that are not high maintenance, I guess, or just easy to work with. Even if clients are, a little bit more on the needy side of things, which is completely understandable, especially in the wedding world. That's a lot, and it's a big deal. But just, I think people that understand the pros of having a event planner, both in corporate and wedding, social, whatever it is, people that really see, yes, it's a cost, but I always try to remind people that it's also an investment. It's an investment into making sure that your event runs smoothly and, having that trust that we have it covered. Like, we know what we're doing. We've pretty much seen and done it all, or, at least a lot. So we have your back, and we want clients that truly value that. And, I don't know, just we've been lucky with ones that we get, but
Yeah, I just want to work with cool people.
right?
Yeah.
Fun people,
Come on.
creative
We can have
people that want to do something different,
Yeah.
outside the box. Yeah, ones that we just
If
have
you're
fun
good at your
with.
job, you should be able to have fun doing
Yeah,
it, right? Like
for
that's
sure.
the adage of like, I've never worked a day in my life because I love my job. And so
Yeah.
if you can have clients you love,
Yeah.
even the better.
Yeah,
right? So,
and that's always my
and
goal
clients
too.
that love you.
Yeah.
Ideally.
I love to be loved.
Love to be loved.
But yeah, I have a few past wedding clients that I've become friends with, and I just went to trivia with one the other night, and
Yeah.
it's because you do, and even with corporate too, especially repeat clients, you do become friends to a certain level, and have that comfort level, and
Or invested in like their lives and their
right.
happiness and
yeah,
and
their
how
kids and their jobs and
and
everything
their cats.
and their
Their
cats
cats,
and their pets
exactly.
and
Yeah,
all
it's
the
the
things.
fast friends, right?
Yeah, you're
And
kind
then
of
it makes
forced
the
to become
obstacles seem
Yeah.
not so
Right.
much hurdles, but little bumps in the road.
yeah. And that you can have those honest conversations
Right.
then with them without
Right.
feeling like they're gonna.
Yeah, they don't see a wall; they're
Yeah.
seeing the speed bump, and
Right.
yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
Dana, same sort of question. Like, who are you looking for? What's your ideal? Like, oh my gosh, I'm excited to get this client. And
Yeah, I really love doing like the leadership retreats, the staff retreats. We do events big to small, but I kind of like the 200 and less, because you really get to know the clients, you get to know the attendees year after year. And so, the next year when they see you, they're like, they know who you are and they know that you're the person that they're going to go to, for any questions, or anything they need. So I really like working with companies that I can like be an extension of their team, and work with I have clients where, instead of like, I'll just go directly to accounting. I'll go to the legal department. I know I have to send in the contracts. It goes to legal, copy the client. They trust me. Same thing with accounts payable or, when we need to pay the bills,
Right.
so it's like we're just an extension of each other's teams. So those are kind of the clients that I like working with.
Love it. Love it. A few years ago, there was a lot of sort of news about third-party planners and outside planners that weren't, working directly with the end client when it came to the hotel side of things, venue side of things. What are some best practices you can share, or just like the sort of view from you guys kind of being a third party where you come in and take the client, work with the venue, work with an AV company, and kind of bring it all together? My world, I'm like, that's a beautiful situation because you've got this almost like outside. It's not just the vendors. You've got somebody helping to manage it all that's not leaning one way or the other. Sometimes we'll work with a Freeman or somebody that covers decor, planning, AV, that they do everything. And I sometimes feel like that's a little too much. Whereas you've got somebody that's on the outside that can kind of make things smoother. Tell a little bit about what that looks like for you guys and how that works and what the benefits are for a client that would be like trying to do it in-house versus hiring you guys on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's definitely a cost savings when you work with a planner, and then we have valued partners that we work with, because each vendor has a niche, and they for example, Helms Briscoe, they do hotel sourcing. We can source hotels in San Diego, Orange County, we've got hotel partners, but when you're looking at hotels in Atlanta or Chicago or Denver, someone like a Helms Briscoe is going to have that database that we don't have. They're going to have that the bigger buying power. So being able to bring, people in, even, audiovisual partners, it's like sometimes most of the time I would say in, when you're working in a hotel, it's more cost effective to bring in your own audiovisual partner.
We like to say that as
And
well.
easier.
Yeah. And easier.
And
yeah.
easier for everyone involved.
Yeah. So it really is. It's like, and you know who you're getting, so you don't, we were just talking about this, in the training we were in.
Yep.
About like, I know who I'm getting. I know who I'm working with. I'm not going to just have somebody show up and working on the program.
Right.
I had someone a couple of years ago, and I'm like, this person I think is in training right now, and like good for him that he's learning, but it's like I don't really want him learning on my show, unless there's somebody there like overseeing. Like, okay, if you're shadowing, that's great, but if you're like, if I've hired 2 techs and one of them is in training, that doesn't make me feel great. Show ended up turning out okay, but it's like you just don't know. You don't know what you're walking into.
Yeah.
So it's definitely better to have, those valued, trusted partners. And you're an extension of our team, like we keep saying. Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the greatest things too is that when you can have that continuity, we always talk about something that was a challenge when you've worked with somebody, like if you're working with Josh and it's like, hey, Josh, remember 2 years ago when, that CEO showed up at the last minute with their PowerPoint, like updated, and we were 1 minute from doors and all that things. It's like, you guys already have that history and you can be like, okay, let's be ready for when that might happen this time. It's almost the unsaid things, right? That you guys really, that's your job. You're filling in those blanks. The things that even an in-house in-house event team might not know. They're kind of focused on their board and their team and their, maybe it's a sales retreat where so they're focused on their people and the incentives and all of those things. But you are there to make sure, like, well, can the bus get out to that spot in the desert where you guys are going to go ride ATVs? Like, those are so important and are the success or failure of an event.
I think a lot of people too, which I see on like the wedding and social side, but also on corporate, is they really don't realize how many tiny details go into events until you're in the midst of planning it.
Right.
And, you know, from the outside, oh, we'll just get some food and beverage and, you know, have a DJ and throw some slides up. Like, what's so hard about that? But you're not realizing, where's the bus going to drop off? Can it
Right.
drop off there? What if it doesn't show up? Who's calling? Do you have the name and number of the driver? You know, what if the caterer is late? What if they set up in the wrong spot? Like, there are so many tiny things, and that's barely breaking the surface of things that could potentially go wrong or just need to be managed. And
Yeah.
that's the benefit of having a planner. You have one point of contact for all those elements that you can reach out to or that you know is just handling it, so that you internally can focus on your board, your CEO, those, you know, key employees, whatever it is that that you need to be focused on without being pulled in a million directions.
Mhm.
That's where we are.
Yeah.
We're the ones
We're
getting
being
pulled
pulled in a
and
million
yeah,
directions.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's what we're there for. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the linchpin, kind of we talked about
Exactly.
today in
Yeah.
our
There you go.
in our some training we
Yeah.
were doing in the building.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's sort of look forward. What's the future look like for SDEP?
Right.
Looks bright.
looks so
Bright.
Wearing
bright.
sunglasses.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Well, we're in San Diego.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
70 and sunny every day.
Yeah.
Except today.
Yeah,
For
I
some
think
reason.
it looks good. Last year was kind of a weird year in our industry. At least we felt it on the planner side and have heard from a lot of, you know, venues and vendors. It was just, I don't know, election year, people get weird and, you know, kind of pull back on budgets and things like that. So last year was tough, but I feel like this year will hopefully be going in the right direction. And
feels like it.
It feels
Yeah.
like
Yep.
it is.
It
and
really
it
feels like
already
a good
does.
start. We're only in February.
Right.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and we are hearing, you know, from other planners that things are better looking better. You know, even if their Q1 is slower, like
Yeah.
the rest of their year is
Yeah.
looking good.
Yeah, I think
So-
even coming out of COVID, keeping in mind we've only been back for 3 years.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So that first year, everybody was spending everything because they
Yeah.
had budgets that they
Right.
needed to use, and so they went above and beyond. And then it was pull back and get
Mm-hmm.
us back to a even playing field. And I really feel like 25 is that. All right, now we know where things are
Yeah.
back. We know that all the increases of costs of labor and things like
Mm-hmm.
that are now captured, and we're just kind of back to a normal playing field.
yeah,
Yeah.
So-
yeah. We're
Agreed.
looking forward to, you know, a busy 2025, and you know, and we're 4 years old now, so yeah.
Yeah.
So we just continue to grow, and we're starting to bring on, you know,
Yeah.
we have you know, independent contractors that work for us, and
Right.
so you know, we're starting to bring on more to help with some of our programs and some of the back end stuff, proposal development and things like that. So
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Josh, anything else? What do we forget
Mm-hmm.
to ask? Anything?
What did we forget to ask? I don't know.
Feel like this was good. Cool people hanging out in a
This
room.
was good. The tacos were great. Conversation was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's warm in this room.
It's warm.
It is.
Really chilly
Yeah.
outside. Considering
is
we're in
an
San
anomaly.
Diego.
Anomaly.
Yeah. Totally.
don't need
Cool.
the shades today.
No,
but
yeah, it was a pleasure to sit down with you
Yeah.
both. And
All
Yeah.
Always.
Thank you so much for taking the time. People want to get in touch with you. How do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, they can go to our website, sdeventproduction.com. We're on Instagram, sd.eventproduction. They can email us, either Dana or Shannon, at sdeventproduction.com. And, you know, we're on LinkedIn, Facebook, all the things. So
Awesome.
We're out there.
you can Google us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Google us.
I love it. Well, Dana, Shannon, thank you guys so much for
Thank
being on the
you.
podcast. Again, this has been C's Backstage, your pass to everything you need to know to design, produce, and inspire your next event. Remember to subscribe to the podcast at cspro.com/backstage or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Thanks again for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thanks.